Hello everybody, I thought I would do a Studio Diaries vlog for YouTube because I haven't done anything on here for well over a year, I think, showing you a little bit of my behind the scenes life and my creative stuff that I've been doing. I have been showing a lot more on Patreon, so there's quite a few videos over there. Well, not quite a few, I don't know, 3 or 4 maybe. I think most of them are available if you're just a free member. But yeah, I thought I'd come back on YouTube and do a little sort of update and share a bit of my drawings and my creative progress. So I hope you enjoy. I'm just showing you now a piece of furniture that is now my most beloved and most treasured possession. And when it came into the house, when I brought it into the house, I hugged it. I was just so happy to have it here. And it is a little writing desk. And I got it from my granny and granddad's house. So my granddad passed away, oh God, it was just before COVID happened. I can't remember now. But my granny is still going strong, bless her, but she's gone to a care home. So we've been clearing out her house and this desk has come from there. So obviously it's full of memories, and also it's just absolutely perfect for me to sit down, and it's filled with all my journal supplies, and it's my favourite thing. So my house has been sort of filling up with lots of little bits and bobs and trinkets from my granny's house. So if you see anything that's a cat here in this footage, that's probably come from her because she is a massive fan of cats. So there's lots. She had so many cats in her collection, but we sort of chose the select few that we liked. That little one there is made of clay. That she actually made that one. Oh, and the furniture it's standing on is doll's house furniture that my granddad made. So, yeah, as I say, the house is filling it with lots of little bits and bobs, all with lots of memories, and it's really, really nice and cosy and comforting to have all these things. So I did move my little creative area again, and I don't know if anybody else is the same, but where the orientation of my desk is and where my supplies are really makes a huge difference to my creativity. It's very overly sensitive, and it sounds it sounds a bit like dramatic, but just moving my desk like 2 meters and changing the angle and just moving a few other things has had such a positive impact on what I've been doing. I mean, there's been other stuff going on behind the scenes. I've suffered with a hell of a lot of creative block for months now, and I finally just got completely sick of it in July, and I sat down and I forced myself to tackle it, to sort it out. So I think I've sort of cracked it for now. Obviously it's something that comes and goes and comes and goes, but I've sort of made myself an action plan for how to deal with it, and fingers crossed I can keep going. So this is me starting work on my Patreon digital sheet for July. And it's a summer month here in the UK, in the Northern Hemisphere. So, and we've been eating far too many ice creams, so I thought I would go with sort of a fancy ice cream theme. Partly because I had memories of going to cafes with my granny and having Knickerbocker Glories and banana splits, and we used to make Sundaes at her house because she was actually evacuated to New York State in the Second World War. And I have a feeling she picked up a lot of their fancy like desserts, and I don't know, she had all these fun ideas that she wanted to try out at home. So I remember lots of happy times in her kitchen, grating frozen chocolate onto ice cream and things like that. So I thought I'd do like an ice cream sundae sheet for Patreon for July. So I usually start off with Pinterest, looking through, getting my inspiration, found loads of really cool vintage drawings, and then I make some sort of sketch notes, I call them, in my sketchbook. I'm not a massive sketchbook fan. I feel like I repeat myself when I talk about my process. It doesn't change all that much. I'm not a massive sketchbook fan, but I do use a sketchbook to sort of take notes. So it is a very rough thing, and I think that's kind of the point of a sketchbook anyway, isn't it? It's not supposed to have perfect finished works of art in it. But yeah, I call them sketch notes because I sketch a bit, I make notes. It's almost like note taking, but with illustration sort of thing. So I've done a couple of pages of that, and I'm now going through my little collection of Caran d'Ache Neo Colour 2, I think they're called. They're the ones that are water soluble, so you can get your paintbrush on them afterwards. Some of these are also inherited from my gran. I had a rummage through her crayon/pastel stash the other day. because she's not using them anymore, and I pinched all of her Caran d'Ache water soluble pastels, and they're lovely. So again, it's nice to be using things that again remind me of her. So I suppose I could say this digital sheet is sort of dedicated to her in a way, because she would love all these ice creams. So I'm just picking out some sort of ice creamy summery colours, and to the left I've also got a stack of pencils that I'm going to use. You can just see them off to the left there with jam jars, and I'm just playing around with the colour palette at this point, trying to work out which ones I want to use. So once I've collected all my pencils I want to use, all my pastels I want to use, I sort of put them to the side, and I'm going to start off with doing a paint layer. So the way I like to work if I'm working actually physically rather than digitally is to do a layer of paint as a base, so either watercolour or gouache depending on what I feel like, and then to go over the top with pencils or pastels or whatever to get a bit more texture and a bit more detail. And then I usually almost always end up finishing it off digitally with Procreate. I don't have any Procreate footage, and I'm not going to share tons of this footage of me drawing because I can't really draw very well with a camera on. I get very sort of, as soon as I turn the camera on to film while I'm painting, I suddenly become aware of somebody watching me, and I can't sort of get into the zone. I can't properly concentrate on what I'm doing. So I sort of try and do a bit, but then I end up turning it off when I can feel myself not quite. It's like I just can't focus properly if I feel like there's somebody around. I can't even really draw with people in the room very often. I feel like my videos are just me explaining how weird I am, but you know, what I'm hoping that somebody else will be like, yeah, I get it, I know what you mean. And also I just want to explain why I don't really share too much footage of me painting, to be honest. So again, just pick out some paint colours that I think might go and get my little paint palette set up. So not having used gouache paint for quite a few months, I tend to just start off by playing around with the paint really, just mixing a few colours together that I've not mixed before, sort of just faffing around on the palette really. The palette is just a big china platter I got from a fairly cheap shop here in the UK. It's called The Range, and it's just the biggest, flattest white china paint I could find because it is the best for using as a palette. I don't like using plastic palettes, so I'm just sort of mixing things randomly and shoving them onto my little sketchbook just to see what they look like. And I go through I sort of enjoy this process. I don't have like a particular colour I'm aiming for, and I don't really know what I'm doing. So this really is very much just like play at this point. I'm just playing with paint, playing around with paint and mixing things and just sort of having a bit of fun with it. It doesn't feel like I really know what I'm doing, but it's very enjoyable. It's a bit like sticking stickers in my sticker book. I'm not actually sticking them on the page, I'm just sticking them in my sticker book and rearranging them so that one day I can use them properly. It's kind of that kind of pleasure. So what is probably several hours later, it feels like, I've sort of played around with them and mixed them up enough to get the kind of colours that I think I know I want. I know I want like a minty ice cream colour. I know I want a really sort of lovely juicy red berry colour. I've got that on the top left. And I didn't get the camera angle at the correct angle, but down the bottom I've got some sort of suitable wafer colours and vanilla ice cream colours and chocolate ice cream colours. So I'm kind of ready to go to the next stage now. These are Holbein gouache, by the way. Bought them in Japan secondhand a long time ago because they are quite expensive, but they're really, really lovely paints. So working on loose leaf paper. I don't know what paper this is actually. I don't know actually. Sorry, that's unprofessional of me. No idea what paper it is. I could probably look it up. I tend to work on hot press paper if I'm going to use watercolour paper because it's smoother. But I don't think this is what that is. I don't think it's particularly posh paper anyway. It's just a fairly thick, it might be like a multimedia paper. I've got a few like paper pads and I just grabbed one out of the thing. So I'm just doing sort of rough pencil outlines so I know where to put the paint. And my painting skills are definitely not up to par. They're not professional. I can't complete the full illustration only in paint yet. I think that would be wonderful to be able to do, but I don't have the actual paint manipulation skills to get all the detail in that I would like, which is why I end up using like pastels and pencils, and then finally I use digital, because obviously when you're using digital at the end, it doesn't matter what medium you have for all the layers below, because the digital doesn't get affected by anything. As you know, gouache is water soluble, so if you then put a lighter colour on top, if you put too much water, it sort of smudges all the colours. So there's quite a lot of skill involved in using gouache, and I'm not quite at that level yet, which is why I end up stopping. I sort of do a very basic layer with the paint just to get a good, nice, thick, kind of uniform colour down, and then go in with detail on top. So you can see from this sort of film footage that, yeah, as you can see, it's not lots of gouache and it's not very expertly applied. It's just sort of filling in the background to kind of get a really good amount of colour down, and then I'm going in with the pencils. Pencils are definitely one of my favourite things to use, which is why I called myself Emily Pencil, because I love them. Absolutely love lots of having a big stash of pencils. And these little ice cream chaps with the little cone hats are definitely my favourite illustrations from this sheet. I think they're so cute. I haven't actually made one, and you don't really see them in restaurants and cafes. I think I might have seen them somewhere in Japan a long time ago. Maybe we went to some sort of theme park and they had that as one of their children's desserts. But yeah, I feel like I'm going to look out for these desserts now, and every time I see one, I'm going to take a photo and like order one maybe and eat it, because it's just fun, isn't it? It's just fun to have like fancy desserts. You could just have plain ice cream in a bowl, or you could have ice cream in a bowl with a cone on top and a smiley face and sprinkles, and then it just makes the whole thing just so much more, I don't know, enjoyable. So yeah, I really enjoyed drawing these, and they came out really nicely, I think. And this is how it all turned out in the end. So put it all into Procreate, arranged it all on the page, and then just did a few sort of finishing touches, mostly the white highlighter on top of it. And I got a full page of yummy desserts and cute little ice cream dudes. So really, really happy with those. And I'm really looking forward to using them over the summer. So I mentioned at the start of the video that I'd been having trouble with creative block and finding ways to get myself organised and focused. And one of the big problems that I had is that I couldn't choose what to do. I couldn't decide where to focus, what was the best thing to try. Like if I start a new project, which one should I choose? And I was getting really, really overwhelmed with it. And then I thought, if the thing that's stopping me from starting is not being able to decide, then I just need to take that decision-making process completely out of the equation. So I made myself an ideas jar. Now I did this absolutely years and years ago. Oh God, 10, 15 years ago, I think I made an ideas jar, just thinking back now. And it helps because you write all your little ideas on pieces of paper, you throw them in the pot, and then just the act of doing that, the act of writing them down, getting them out of your head and putting them in the pot, it's just like writing a list. You feel like, right, I've dealt with all of those. And they're sort of out of my head and they're not like rattling around vying for attention. And then the idea is going to be that when I come to do a new sheet, if I don't have any ideas, if I do feel completely like overwhelmed with choice, I can just pick one out. And I don't have to do exactly what's written on the piece of paper, but it will start as a sort of a prompt and a sort of a starting point for me. So that's the plan. So this is me setting up my ideas jar, and I figured I'd use some like little alphabet stickers that I did, I don't know, 2 months ago maybe. These are actually completely free on Patreon if you want to go and grab them. You do have to be a member, I think, but it's a free membership. You don't have to pay. And there's a couple of alphabet sheets that you can help yourself do. You're more than welcome to. They're on there. The link to my Patreon is under the video. So I chose a glass jar because I figured that would be nice and sturdy and secure. and I wanted to use my stickers on it, so I figured they would stick really well to the glass, but probably come off easily if I ever decide not to use it. So I thought I'd just go through my little sticker album and pick out a few bits and bobs to put on it to make it all sort of pretty, so that it looks nice and appealing in my room. I actually found as I was doing this that I didn't really have that many small stickers. There's quite a lot of big stickers, but not lots of little diddy ones. And I think the reason is because if you're giving an A4 sheet out as a digital printable, if you do lots of little tiny images, it's really exhausting trying to cut those out by hand once you've printed the sticker sheet off. So I think recently I've been sort of trying to do slightly larger stickers. But yeah, this is me going through and looking through all my pages, trying to find something that will fit in the gaps. But I did find a few in the end, so it all worked out okay. So the ideas that I'm going to put in this jar are primarily theme ideas for my digital download sheets on Patreon. So I do try and do a different theme every month. And some of the bits that are going to go in there are format ideas. So I may want to sort of experiment with formats sometimes, maybe do paper craft projects, things like that. So it's not just downloading a sheet and making stickers out of them. And I decided what I would do was sort of colour code them, because some of the ideas are going to be really seasonal. So if you're thinking about like Halloween or Christmas, or spring even, or summer, there's certain themes that will only work during those seasons. So I thought if I did them on colour coded paper, when I'm grabbing a piece out, I know if I've got one that's relevant to the season. So if I pick it, if it's like, I don't know, May, and I stick my hand in and I pull out a red one, I know to put it back straight away, because that's obviously Christmas. So I had these like bits of paper lying around that I sort of started to make inserts for a personal planner with. They were all cut to personal planner size, but I've had them on my shelf for several years, so I figured I might as well just chop them up and make them into the little different colour slips. And I remembered to make myself a little key so I know which one is which, and that will go stuck down on a little piece of paper. And I'll pop that in the jar just so that I can remember which colour means which when I go to actually pull something. I haven't pulled anything out of it yet, but I'm thinking I might do that for September and October. I already have an idea for my August sheet, and actually at the time of filming I've already done that one. I actually came up with my own ideas for July and August, but I don't know if I don't know about September, October. I know they're going to be like autumn type themes, but exactly what I don't know yet. So I'm thinking I'm going to pull one out for there, but I'm quite nervous about it. But I'm sure it'll be fine. So I'm coming to the end of the video now. I've run out of footage from the month, and just want to say thank you very much for watching if you made it this far. It wasn't a particularly elaborate or fancy, or certainly not professional studio vlog, but I just thought I'd do a little update just to kind of share the things I've been getting up to, and hopefully I'll be back in August with another one. So I hope you're all well. Thank you very much for watching to the end if you made it this far. Let me know in the comments if you have ever had an ideas jar, whether you think it's a good idea. I just think it's really good if you're overwhelmed with decision fatigue to just take the decision out of your hands and just let fate decide. And I don't know, I said I'm nervous to pick one out, but I'm also quite excited to see what I get. Just because it's going to be so nice not to spend weeks and weeks going, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do, because I won't have a choice, and that will be good. So thank you very much for watching, and I will speak to you soon, hopefully. Bye.